the Angels lose a guy who is a once-in-a-lifetime player, and yet they've got nothing to show for this thing, right? There are no trophies in the trophy case other than the ones that he's taking with him to Chavez Ravine. There's no prospects. There's nothing. So how does a franchise recover from this?
Well, in many ways, it's a reset. Look, the Angels weren't winning with Shohei Ohtani. They won 73 games each of the last two seasons. And let's not forget, he was hurt down the stretch last year. But when I look at what the Angels are doing, you bring in a brand new manager in Ron Washington. You have a ton of young players that you're hoping are going to make a big impact for you. Maybe not just now, but moving forward. You feel like maybe you have franchise guys and a catcher in Logan O'Hoppe and a shortstop in Zach Neto, a first baseman in Nolan Schanuel. You have a handful of pieces that are young players that, well, the Angels are expecting to develop at the major league level. Not a lot of teams do that. The Angels are in that kind of situation where they kind of have to, and they have young talent. They just got to get them big league ready, and that's now the job for Ron Washington.
I want to get to some of that younger talent you spoke about, but first, let's talk about Mike Trout. And I remember sitting with him at the All-Star break last year, and he was still convinced that Shohei wasn't necessarily leaving. You know, maybe he was just trying to be positive about the whole thing. But now he is gone. So what does that mean for Mike Trout? We heard him say he is not going to ask for a trade, but that could be in the best interest of this franchise. So what do you see about the future of Mike Trout and the Angels?
Look, Mike's not going anywhere. He wants to be here. He wants to win with the Angels. And one thing, in hearing some of the comments from Ron Washington talk about the work Mike has put in this offseason, he is starting to embrace that leadership role. I think that as long as Mike Trout can realize the role he has as a leader, but also understanding that with all the time that he's missed due to injury, he's got to be able to stay on the field if this team's going to have any chance at all to contend for a playoff spot.
And what about the disaster that is Anthony Rendon? And it's been well documented when he showed up to camp, some of the things he said. I don't fault the guy for saying that his family and his faith are first, but to say that baseball is not a top priority and that it's only a priority because it is my job and it's what I do for a living, it just doesn't seem to be the things you say to a fan base. I don't feel like he was really reading the room. What was your take on all that?
Look, I don't think Anthony cares what people think or what you're supposed to say in the media. I do concern myself is, how is Anthony Rendon going to be able to stay on the field? And when he does play, how is he going to be able to produce? Look, Anthony Rendon has missed a ton of time in his Angel tenure. He hit below 240 last year. The Angels need Anthony Rendon to produce. Forget the comments. You just need this guy on the field because when he plays, the Angels are significantly better for it.
Hey, Schanuel's got a base hit. Send that baseball back home. Nolan Schanuel's first career major league knock.
All right, let's be positive now, and I want to talk about some of the positive things that this team may be able to look forward to. And you mentioned a young man earlier, Nolan Schanuel. He's a kid. If no one knows this story, it's a remarkable one. He was drafted last July, and 40 days after he was drafted, he was called up to the majors, which is one of the fastest call-ups in the history of baseball. And he, played 29 games and got on base in every single one of them? What do you make of this young man and his great story?
I mean, the fact that this guy started the year playing college baseball, swinging in an aluminum bat, and all of a sudden is reaching base in every game he plays, the big leagues later that same year, that's amazing. His work ethic is off the charts, too. He's got to be able to hit for power. That was the one knock. He had just one homer, 3 doubles last year. If he's able to give you just a little bit more pop, you're not asking for 25 home runs, but just some power out of the first base position, that could be an area that has been a bit of a bugaboo for the Angels for quite some time.
And finally, the man that is in charge of putting all of this together. I don't know why Ron Washington wanted this job at 71 years old, but we saw what he did when he was in Arlington with the Rangers, brought them to back-to-back World Series. What do you make of this hiring, and what do you see out of Ron, and what can he bring to the table for this young team?
Look, Ron Washington said there's no place in the world he'd rather be than right here. He said that standing at the Angels complex in Tempe, Arizona. I understand it. I mean, I think that, one, Washington craved the opportunity to manage again. I don't think that can be denied, and the Angels were the opportunity for him. At the end of the day, the Angels weren't winning enough games. I mean, 73 wins the last 2 seasons. Not good enough. Washington is a baseball man. He is a teacher. He wants to teach, and I think he's excited about the opportunity.
Well, we both saw what Bruce Bochy did last year with the Rangers. Who knows? Hey, Trent, it's always fun talking baseball with you. Thanks for taking the time today.
Appreciate it, Cal.